To get yourself up and do something for 10 minutes, that's a phenomenal step in the right direction. If you could do that every day, trust me, by the end of the month, 10 minutes is going to be like eating a piece of candy that you love. You're going to be like, this is what challenge me. And you're going to push further and push harder because you're going to know that you can. And you're going to realize that 10 minutes is nothing, and you can add another 10 to that and have 20. And before you know it, by the end of the month, the next month, you'll be up to 45 minutes just because you know you can. And the time doesn't seem like it's floating away so fast anymore. It seems like it's actually getting filled. That's where we don't live most of the time. We always live in limiting ourselves because we think that we don't have enough time, when actually we have nothing but time. You spend most of your time working. Okay, what about the other time that you spend when you're not working? You spend your time regathering yourself for the next day. Does it really take 12 hours to do that? You work for 8 hours, 10 hours a day. It takes a whole 12 hours for you to get yourself ready for the next day. At some point, you can't find 10, 20 minutes. I don't believe it. Physical limitations, chronic pain, injuries, disabilities, or other physical conditions can hinder one's ability to participate in regular physical activity, leading to avoidance and excuses. Let's not forget there's an opioid problem here in this country. So make sure you're being honest with yourself, because a chronic pain and taking opioids for it is not alleviating the problem. It's only alleviating the pain. So if you wanted to truly cure the pain, you should try stretching techniques, hot yoga, and things of that nature, something that actually may cure the pain, which takes you actually getting up off of your butt and trying to figure out what the pain is and not just trying to soothe it. Because I have reoccurring lower back pain. And it doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen every month. But when it comes, it's freaking annoying, and it actually hinders my ability to do certain things, like lift a certain amount of weight certain ways. I have to do things slowly. I have to be very conscious of how I move. But I don't stop moving, and I don't stop lifting, and I don't stop working out. I just manage what I can do while I have this pain. And that's why I say it's very specific, and it's a sciatica. It's a nerve. It starts with the muscle. You know, my personal thing starts with the muscle. It's the sciatica nerve. So if that muscle gets really bent out of shape and not stretched enough, it swells up, and then it starts acting like it's going to hit that sciatica nerve. But if it actually ever does, I'm out. Once the nerve is hit, you can do absolutely nothing. So you do need to be conscious of stretching. You got to be conscious of heating the area up so it gets loose before you start jumping into doing a bunch of activities. So these types of things are the actions that you need to take in order to make sure you prevent yourself from having certain issues. Now, my pain is going to come back no matter what I do. It just won't necessarily be sciatica pain, but there will be a pain. It will be an uncomfortable feeling, and I deal with it accordingly. But I do not stop what I'm doing. Here's the difference. Once you stop what you're doing, now you're putting a hindrance on yourself. That's going to be a valid reason for you not to be able to do anything, because you allowed one problem to stretch to many more that hinders you from having the ability to do anything, and which puts you in a position where now you have reason to be depressed because you can't do anything, but you created it. But you will never look at it that way. You look at it, well, there was a problem there in the first place. There are a lot of problems physically that we can get a hold of, and if we would just manage ourselves and our physical condition a little bit better, we could get a hold on a lot of this stuff. It's not that difficult. It may be hard to do, but it's not difficult to understand. You know, I fight through the pain in stretching because I knew at some point it would relieve me of the stress of that particular muscle, you know, and if it hit the nerve, I'm out. So if I knew that if I would just keep myself consistent and disciplined enough to get up and stretch that muscle, stretch it when I start feeling it, stretch it in the bathroom, stretch it when I any moment of the day that I can do it, I knew that eventually the pain that leads up to the problem will go away. A lot of you aren't willing to do that. You know, I felt the times I was wasting my time when I was doing it. But anytime the pain gets close now, I go to stretching in a frenzy because I know it works. I know it works. I don't have to see the results. I know that the results take time. I know that if I stretch for a month, by the end of the month, I'll feel better. It's that simple. By the beginning of the month, when the pain first happens, if it comes on January 1st, I may start stretching on January 3rd, and January 20th, January 15th, it might not feel like it's doing anything. I'm like, well, why am I stretching still? By January 20th, I'm like, I think I felt better. Oop, no, I don't. I got to still stretch. By the 1st of February, I'm like, wait a minute. Is it gone or am I just bugging? No, I stretched it out. Do something about it. I'm not going to lay there and be a little bitch and complain about the pain while I could be doing something about it. Pain from a breakup, the pain from losing someone, the pain from losing something. Do something about it. Don't just lay there and sulk in your sorrow and pity and feeling bad for yourself because you lost something. Okay, well, don't lose it again if you ever have the chance. Do something about it. Build yourself up to never be in that position again. We have to move on, Here's another one. People often doubt their ability to engage in exercise due to past failures or lack of fitness, which can prevent them from starting or sticking with an exercise program. Man, if I could tell you how much fear of failure is so valid. Fear of failure is one of the most valid things inside of us, because if you don't ever or have never worked out in so long that you've forgotten how to be active, how could you expect not to fail when you start up? If you haven't worked out for so long or you've never worked out, why would you expect not to fail? Of course you're going to fail. But when you build off of that failure, you learn something. You learn what not to do. You learn what to do. And failing could literally be, I can't lift a weight. That's okay. There are other things you can do to get to the point where you could actually lift the weight. But the failure should not stop you. I can't lift the weight, so I quit. Once you get over your first failures as a beginner or a restarter, the level of constant production and confidence they just don't allow it to happen anymore. You're confident enough and you practiced enough to where the things that you failed at the beginning, they just won't happen anymore. But you can't think it into existence. You have to do it into existence. You have to put yourself through it in order for your body to recognize what it needs to do. And then you just keep going. That is the reality of working out. That's the reality of bettering yourself. You may fail, but it doesn't matter. The only time it matters is if you fail, is if you sit there and just be a failure and you stop and you quit. Now you have failed. And even then, you're not a complete failure, because as long as you have the physical ability and the mindset to get up and do it again, even if it's 5 years from now, you have not failed, because you came back and you tried it all over again and you did it. Why don't you subscribe? Why don't you hit that little button down there, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can get notified when I drop a new episode. And you can also leave a comment down in the bottom and tell me what you think about what you are watching and what you're listening to.